Part 1 Intro/What is it? Exodus chapter 20 verses 4 and 5 say, Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. The second commandment that we are told about are found in these verses here. To summarize it up simply, it is talking about graven images. Now, what are these graven images? These two words could be defined as anything that is an image carved from wood, stone, or metal, or even a statue of a person or animal. Any of these graven images are something that would be used in false worship and representation of a fake God. However, this commandment here is broken into two different sections. The first part is in the 4th verse, where it talks about how we need to not make any graven image. The second part is in the 5th verse. It takes it a step further by saying we shouldn't worship it. When these verses talk about these graven images, it talks about how you can't make these images in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth. This here is the triple division that we can see that God gave to all of the earth, which is a reference here to Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 7. See, when God was creating everything, this is the same division that He gave to the earth when it was created. So whenever we relook at this second commandment here, and it talks about all three, above heaven, in earth, and under. This here is a way for God to say that it isn't acceptable in any of these 3 out of 3 places. Or in other words, it is a complicated way to say that there is simply no place where this is acceptable. However, the reason that God did it like this was to show that He created everything. So why would we create something in this earth that the true God made? Instead of worshiping the true God, instead worship a fake idol that an image of man created. It is done this way to get us thinking about how ridiculous it would be for us to be creating gods. This kind of idolatry was something that was a big problem in those days. I mean, we literally have an example of the Israelites making an idol right after these commandments were given. We can see that in Exodus chapter 32 verse 4. However, in those days, those gods that they would create would be taken out of a furnace, fresh from the anvil of a blacksmith, maybe ivory, paintings, or even stumps of trees. All these things were just done to create a God that people might prefer or serve their purposes better, when in reality it is literally just bending the knee, making sacrifices, whatever the case might be, to just that, a piece of wood, a piece of metal, or maybe even a piece of ivory. When God gave out this commandment, He was trying to convey how it didn't make sense when He created everything that people would try and worship a senseless block or whatever the material is. It also divides it into 2 different sections here, where we are told not to bow down to idols, and also how we are not to worship idols. Now, while these 2 words here seem like they would have a similar meaning and a definition, they're actually a little bit different. Bow down here means to depress or to prostrate. Worship them means to work, to slave, till, or enslave. While both of these words here mean close to the same thing, they are still different. These 2 words here were chosen because they are just and different enough so that when God gave His commandment, He was leaving no room for interpretation or even a loophole. God was giving us the perfect definition that He was wanting us to follow on this. This way there's no room for us to try and interpret it differently. God wanted us to know there's no gray area on this. Our God is a jealous God, as it words it here in these verses. He wants us to know that it should be Him and only Him who is to be worshipped. No idols, no images, no molten figures, no statues. There is nothing that should be coming between us and God.